Welcome to the latest episode of Platform Podcast. Today's guest is Dustin Werbeski. Alongside Richie Eisler, Dustin Werbeski is responsible for the PowerHouse in Barcelona, which was the apartment that Powerslide rented, and as a result, they made all these media projects together. They filmed some absolutely incredible sections with Alain Beaulieu, with Dominic Sagona, with Warpage and loads of other people. We also got sections from Richie and Dustin. And during this period, Dustin really came to the forefront of blading just for being incredibly technical, really innovative, really creative, really taking on board a lot of things that other skaters just weren't doing, as well as having like the traditional aggressive skate skills. So he was just like combining things that even now, like skaters are just starting to adopt. So one example is the things that Colin Kelso's been doing recently, where he's been doing grinds and then combining them with toe slides and heel slides. Dustin Werbeski was doing those years ago and doing things like grinding posts and pivoting on the top of handrails before sliding down them. Just all these different things that are kind of loosely associated with mushroom blading and considered very much like a Canadian trait of just being very experimental with his street skating. He ended up turning pro for Xsjado and for Undercover. He had a pro skate from Xsjado, which was the first pro skate that came with a free skate setup. It came with, I think it was 72mm wheels. And he was really like trying to pioneer that type of blading, like bridging the gap between aggressive and free skate. So he would do like a lot of grinds and like really like intricate, difficult grinds on like flat 72mm setups, which at the time was relatively unheard of. He had a bunch of pro wheels with Undercover, and then he ended up losing his visa, or he didn't have a visa. I can't remember, but either way, he got kicked out of Spain, ended up moving back to Canada, and Xsjado stopped. He ended up getting dropped from the Undercover team, but he still kept skating and releasing these really just interesting, unique concept videos. And one of them was a video on SUV skates. I think it was in Montreal. Can't remember now off the top of my head, but he's basically skating these like mountain bike tracks, and it ended up getting close to like 100,000 views and becoming like really, really popular. And just out of the blue, suddenly Powerslide have given him a new pro skate, and it's an SUV pro skate, which is the first of its kind. There's never been an SUV pro skate before. There's been off-road skates like the Rossi's Big Cat. There's been SUV skates, but never one that's had a skater's name on it. I've interviewed Dustin before. I think it was close to 10 years ago now when he was still pro for Xsjado. Really interesting guy, really funny, lots of stories, and also a bit of a controversial character. He's fallen out with quite a few people over the years, like Sean Kelso. They fell out when he went to America to film his Xsjado promo. He also fell out with fellow Powerslide rider Frederick Anderson. And there's one that I've heard of that's unconfirmed about him falling out with Mark Moreno while he was living in Barcelona. So I think he was quite what you would say, yeah, a definite character, definitely someone that had ruffled a few feathers, but I've always found him really enjoyable to talk to. Can't wait to speak to him again. Before that though, I just want to shout out my Patreon supporters. They're listed on the screen now. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do so for as little as £3 a month. There's a ton of content on there, and I'm always putting up new stuff. So if you want to support this channel, that's the best way to do it. Enough of that though. Cue the music.
Good day.
There he is.
Hey.
How you doing, stranger?
Not bad at all. Hiding away in the middle of Canada.
I was trying to remember the last time we spoke, and I can't remember what year it was, but it wasn't that long after your pro skate came out, because you were still on Xsjado.
I would guess 2013.
Possibly. Yeah.
14, yeah. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So how you been? I see you've like last time we spoke, you were basically trying to get back to Europe and trying to move back to Spain, but I'm guessing that didn't work out.
Well, actually, I think I did get, yeah, I definitely got back for a little bit there for
Okay.
another couple of years. And, but again, didn't work out. So here I am.
Right. Okay. So what's made you decide to stay in Canada? Because you had quite restless feet for quite a few years there.
Yeah. And I guess I'm really content. If I was to choose, that life was nice. Europe's great, the lifestyle, everything about it. But personally, my lifestyle now is a bit more nature orientated, and I love my family. And yeah, I
Okay.
missed a bunch of that. I got like all these nephews and nieces, and everybody's growing up or growing old, and it's nice being around it.
Right. Okay. Cool. Um, are you and your partner from the time still together?
Yep, and we're in Regina, hometown. It's pretty
Nice.
perfect. And yeah, so
So
been a few years. Sorry.
yeah, she must be loving Canadian life as well then if she's like, yeah, I'm happy enough to stay here.
Yeah, well, she's a art teacher, which is pretty cool. She's got a good
Right.
gig, and yeah, she was born and raised here. And
Ah, okay.
yeah,
I
there
didn't
we go.
realize that.
So
Right.
that's the non-workout of Spain round two. I was with a
Right.
Spanish partner. She came to Canada, moved back home. I stayed. So
That's right. Because
a
at
couple of
the
things have
yeah,
happened since then. Yeah, life
okay,
moves
right. Right.
on.
Yeah, at the time your partner was Spanish, right? That's what I was thinking of. Okay. Congratulations on the new skate. Not gonna lie, bit of a shock. Powerslide
Yeah.
like sent me a promo being like, oh, like Dustin Werbeski's pro skate. And I was like, what? What? I didn't even know. I wasn't even sure you still had like, and obviously I knew you were still making promos for Powerslide, but after things ended with Xsjado and with Undercover, I just kind of thought you were getting like flowed products and it wasn't like a kind of formal arrangement anymore. So yeah,
Well,
you're gonna need to update me on what happened during that period because I feel like you kind of like you didn't disappear, but you were definitely like not in the blading limelight anymore.
well, yeah. Let's see. It's very informal. I barely get flown stuff, but as you know, I would have collected a bunch of product over these years, and mostly I collected off-road stuff because it's the hardest to come by.
Right.
And I've been focusing on it because I never realized that side of skating, especially from where I've been. There's a lot of like I'm from the prairies, so I never considered it to be a good off-road blading place, but there's a lot of potential around me. So I've been tapping into that. Don't have an aggressive scene anymore. There's like a couple of cats from like my childhood who are still into skating, but really it's just me and my partner. She films everything, and I haven't been given opportunities to like go to the comp, come promote this, blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
it's not what it used to be. So
Yeah.
yeah, very informal, but I kept one aspect of skating going, which was what was appealing to me most over these years. And in doing so, I was offered the first pro off-road skate.
Right. Because I remember obviously you had that video, it was like 7 years ago that had it was something like 80,000 views or something on the mountain bike trails, or are they even mountain bike trails? It's like those like wooden tracks, which
Yeah,
I was like, that
yeah.
looks terrifying to skate on. Even if you've got like the right skates for that terrain, it still looks like treacherous, but you just made it look like the most casual thing in the world.
Well, again, it was who knew that you could skate that stuff until I found out about air-filled tires, and I was like, whoa! Always thought about those wood ladders in the mountains, and all of a sudden it was just all possible. So, and it is scary. I get the same adrenaline rush riding a trail as I do a drop rail. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like same, and just trying something new out of the same.
Okay. Yeah. Cause those tracks aren't wide. And like some of them look as if they've got like decent drops on the other side, or like, rocks and like roots and stuff to like properly hurt yourself on if you fall off the side.
You have no idea how many or what percentage of those trails that I've passed. Like the things these mountain bikers are doing is insane. It's like just getting to ride some of the features is such a pleasure, but like to one day connect a whole trail. Well, I've definitely done that now, but when that was going viral back then, I didn't even consider top to bottom. It was like hike a bit, ride that feature, hike a bit, ride that feature, tie it
Right.
together, post production, and make it look like I did a smooth run, you know?
Okay. So you weren't like, I'm gonna do this whole like downhill section because that, yeah.
No, it had to start somewhere, and it was just
Right.
testing it. And that went viral, and I did have some cool opportunities like media outside of rollerblading, and it was, yeah, like I was getting interviews on the news, the radio, blah blah blah, and
Okay.
a lot of people, like random people, were sending me myself, being like, stumbled across this on the internet, and yeah, it was cool. And,
So did anything come out of that? Like, did any other companies contact you, or because it kind of seems like a thing that might lead into, I don't know, like some other guys are like, we've got this mountain bike track here. Do you want to come and like try it, or like anything like that?
well, Skydio, the drone company that I fly for or fly with all the time, we're in good connections.
Okay.
Really took a liking to my footage because their most viral stuff is mountain biking clips, I guess, or so I've been told, and mine was kind of blowing those numbers up because it was so obscure. And they sponsored my last tour last summer as well, matched my skate sponsors' contributions, and yeah,
Right.
they were cool. They yeah.
Yeah. Like, so that's kind of crazy. Like, so I'm assuming you kept in good contact with Matthias from Powerslide over the years, even after everything stopped with Xsjado and Undercover.
Yeah, just enough to keep communication alive. There's definitely some downtimes and maybe not such positive times, but
Right.
yeah, we've kept communicating, I guess you could say.
Okay. Because it's like it's a random thing. Like I wasn't even aware of there even being that many SUV skates. Like I thought Powerslide even only had like one like version, and then to get like a pro skate, I was like, whoa, that's like you have a habit of doing like weird things like this. Like this is not your first foray into like um
Yeah, putting the 72 mils on a shadow was
yeah,
like breaking rules. Like nobody was
that's what I mean.
accepting of this big wheels on the most, I don't know, true aggressive skate or whatever. But
Yeah,
it was, I like letting others experience what I've experienced, and that's just getting access to new technology or new products that I had no idea existed or what they were good for, and applying my own skating to these new products was so much fun that I want other people to try the same progression that I've evolved, evolution through my skating. It's just starts off small, anti rockers, freestyle, whatever, and then
yeah.
into bigger wheels and different terrains now. And yeah, I want everybody to try it because there's a lot more than just traditional skating.
It definitely opens the door to like, yeah, just exploring more terrain on skates. But yeah, like you said yourself, like, when you had that shadow out, and even you admitted it, like it was really unpopular because people were just like not on board with that concept yet. Like you and Richie and a bunch of guys during that period were trying to like bring the world of like free skating and rec skating together with aggressive more. And like you guys were like doing all these like technical grinds and stuff on huge wheel setups and setups that just weren't even meant to be doing stuff like that on. And then you had that aggressive skate with like the free skate like setup on it. And I was actually watching some of your sections not long ago, and I don't know if you've seen like the recent basement videos with Colin Kelso and Sean Kelso. And Colin started doing like grinds to toe slides and grinds to heel slides. And I was like, I've definitely seen someone do this before, but I just can't remember where. And it was in like your old wheel promos from like almost a decade ago. And it's crazy that there's things that are only just starting to be like adopted now, but you were doing it like way back then.
And I mean, that probably would have came from something too. Like we all get inspired, and I would never really like to claim ownership of anything. But yeah, I do keep up with media and I see this stuff going on, and people are definitely pushing the creativity of aggressive skating, which was what I loved about it. It's just skate weird stuff and do really weird movements and push, and the Kelso brothers are pushing it right now. They're inspiring. Makes me want to get back on the old Xsjados or my Solomons, or I guess I got Eons under the desk here. Got a bunch of aggressive skates. It's just somebody needs to inspire me.
Your claim, right? So just to be clear, you're claiming that you don't think any of the moves back then you're one of the first people to do, because there's one that I associate with you that you're definitely the first person I saw do it on a street handrail, and it's like the kind of like the dreidel spin on the top of the rail to grind down. Like Sam Crofts does them now, but I'm sure you were the first person I saw ever do it on a street rail.
I feel that is true. I remember being the first to do it on top of a rail and down in a skate park, and that took years to push to a street spot. But before that, it was like Stockwell and like VG 16 or 17. Some like post he did it on out of bank on like it was a montage. It had a cool vibe to it, and there was a Mike Lee or something. There was two people.
People were doing them like independently, like as a standalone trick, but they weren't doing it to a grind combo on a handrail.
That's true. Well, everything's got to be pushed.
This is true, and you were definitely pushing. Yeah, some of that stuff was wild.
Yet to go double though.
Double round. Okay.
Because as you cork, you need to be slowly off axising towards the down of the rail. Otherwise, you'll just sit on top of it and never click in.
Yeah.
So by the time you're double, it's so blind, and having your weight fully committed over the down of the rail would just take a lot of commitment.
Okay. I can't remember whether it was Sam's recent one or the one before. Might have been the one before, but Sam Crofts has got one in one of his recent promo. I think it might have been the last one. He does it in Manchester on a huge one, but even then, he had to modify the rail. You had to like cut the top off the rail to be able to do it,
or just find the perfect spot.
That's it. Yeah, or if you can't, make it. So you don't really like aggressive skate at all anymore, because I remember you guys used to have that like tiny indoor park that you and Richie used to skate, and I'm assuming he comes back to visit family once in a while. So you guys don't strap on the aggressive skates then and have a catch up, no?
Richie's an interesting cat. It took him like 4 years maybe to get back, but he was here this winter, which was a pleasure because I haven't seen him in forever, and spent a month or two around. And sadly that skate park got torn down for a football stadium, and it's been attempted at a replacement, but actually we just had talks about them allowing bladers into this skateboard park, but the park is just a bunch of tiny little mani pads and nothing that I'm interested in skating yet. But when it does grow back into the classic Regina indoor, I'll be back involved. But so until then, I build a mini in my garage every winter, and Rich helped get this one going, and that's all we skated for the month he was around.
You've got a mini ramp in your garage, like as in, like what are we talking here in terms of size or width?
12 feet wide, an 8 foot just back-to-back transition with like a 6 foot flat deck on the bottom, and then the extra 4 foot runs all the way the length of the garage into a little vert wall. A vert wall. Okay.
Because I feel like you're the kind of guy that you said that the skate park wasn't interesting enough with the mani pads. I feel like you can make something out of anything. I feel like you'd find a way to like manipulate that to your will.
It's true. I haven't been there yet, so we'll see what happens when I get there.
Although also knowing you're quite a controversial figure, so you'd probably end up falling out with the skateboarders as well, because you have your ways, Dustin.
I like to speak my mind. So that's a part of it. There's been a little bit of beef on the locals, but it's a small place, so like I obviously it's all love in the end. It's just I gotta like show love to people who are showing love, and if they're not, it's just you get what you give, and I still will see you around, and I'm not gonna I've never thrown a punch. I don't actually fight with people. I just verbally speak, and
you break them down with your words. You defeat them with your words. I'm familiar. Also, you'd kind of think that because everyone's got to that age bracket now where you're like in your 30s and basically an adult as opposed to like a teenager playing an adult or like someone in their early 20s with like, I don't know, just a lot of like testosterone and anger. Like you'd think people would mellow out a little bit and be like, oh yeah, like that whole kind of argument or debate or friction is a bit stupid.
Yeah, I agree. But it is also something about holding on to that youth, childhood, fuck you attitude where you don't be a pushover. Like, say something when you see somebody doing something wrong. I don't know where I'm from. What's the worst it's going to lead to? Like,
just a war of words. Yeah, like because when we see there's quite a big like BMX and skateboard community in Scotland now, and whenever they see like us on skates, they're like, "Can't believe you guys are still doing that. That's amazing!" Like they were like, "Are you guys in anything now? Like, is there any like X Games?" Or I was like, "No, we're not in any of that stuff." And they're like, "But there's still like a group of you, and you're still like they'll see us out filming and stuff like that," and they're like, "That's wild." Like, yeah, like that's like you guys are. That's more of a counterculture than what we have. Like our stuff is everywhere. And you're like, yeah, you're right. Like rollerblading is way more counterculture than skateboarding or any of that other stuff because it actually gets like mainstream attention.
I've always accepted that. Yeah. That's why you gotta be cool with like I get down with and inspired by everything. Like mountain bikers, BMXers, a lot of skateboarding. I ride with them all if I am in the places where they're riding. Not that I'll coordinate with these people because I don't have tapped into their scenes as much, but I do get down with all their media and spot building. I like touching other people's DIYs or their trails.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. So now that you've got this, well, obviously you've been doing it for quite a few years now. Now that you've like tapped into these different environments to skate and just kind of use, are there like, have you now built up like a hit list of places that you're like, God, because Canada's a very aesthetically beautiful place with like, you know, lots of countryside, lots of mountainous areas. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things to discover and explore and like figure out how to use essentially that like, because Scotland's got a very kind of similar aesthetic, you would say, to Canada in that regard. So you would kind of, I feel like it opens up quite kind of like limitless possibilities of where you can go and stuff you can see, or I don't know,
True.
you end up starting looking on like National Geographic for skate spots. You're like, oh
no, it's really true. Like, yeah, national parks are an iffy thing. They really don't like you. It's like pushing what's not accepted in there, and rollerblading, free riding, or even riding these paths. A lot of stuff is bikes aren't allowed on them, like the beautiful groomed trails. So you have to respect that. There's places where you shouldn't skate or whatever, but of course I've gotten
have you ever gotten like a ticket or into trouble with like from the authorities for doing it? Because I feel like you've got like the rangers and the wardens and stuff in places like that I can imagine would be quite angered.
Yeah, the worst was Yellowstone National Park. I don't know, is many years ago, so whatever that little statute of limitations may apply or something, but like it was I don't know if my name ever got actually associated with it, but I had filmed a drone video skating the boardwalks along the geysers, and for one, you're not allowed to skate in the park on the paths like that. You're not allowed to fly a drone in the park, all this stuff or whatever. Unaware, just gave it to the sponsors and they posted it and they got reprimanded for such actions. And but they're still cool with me and keep hooking it up. But that would be the worst case situation. Nothing ever serious, because again, it's just rollerblading. Like, I'm not chopping down a tree to make a spot. I'm just finding a tree that's already knocked over and riding that. And it's not like, and it's even less destructive than rubbing wax all over things, or I don't know. It's pretty chill. So
definitely,
those possibilities are endless. So beyond national parks, finding like just traditional parks where people have dedicated trails that use apps like Trail Forks, or these like networks of people who log photos and videos of trails all around the world. And I just look for the best ones for skating and look at the best features, and then plan a road trip and go camping and skate It's so much fun. You drop in and just float through some
Yeah.
place that like, yeah, sometimes the runs last long enough where you get too tired to even continue, and like that is perfect. So like the rolling hills of Scotland, that you guys got like a lot of goats over there or something, or eating all the grass, keeping it trimmed down. That must be it.
Not really coast, but we do have like a lot of like mountainous countryside. So yeah.
Okay. I've seen a
Um,
lot of greenery there, which looks ideal.
yeah, there's a huge like mountain biking culture here and stuff like that, and like a lot of outdoor activities in that regard. But like I don't know, skiing and mountain bike, like hiking and like stuff like that. So yeah, I would imagine there's definitely weirdly there's a snow resort called Glencoe, and when it dries, they turn it into like a mountain bike, like downhill mountain bike resort, and they had a one wheel world championships, and I was like, what the heck? Because I like followed them
Whoa.
on Facebook, and I was like, what the hell's a one wheel? And it's those like electric one wheel
Yeah.
skateboards, and they were
Yeah.
racing downhill on them with like motorbike helmets and like full head to toe crash pads. And I was like, first off, that's a thing, and it's getting like international recognition. But rollerblading isn't. I was like, what is? And you saw some of the guys, and they were like fat, out of shape guys on motorized one wheel skateboards. And I was like, I'm sure it's entertaining to watch. 'Cause it's probably carnage when they like hit something and just
Yeah. Yeah.
fly. But I was like, this is a thing. Like,
Well, in the next couple of days or weeks here or whatever, as more of my pro skates content gets released, um, you will see my first goes at that exact thing. Canada has epic ski resorts, and in the winter or the summer, they keep their gondolas open and turn them into mountain bike runs. And I did two mountains top to bottom, like ride the ski resort stuff up, hike over, find the trails, and just bomb down for the hours it takes. Like it's a full day experience, and
yeah,
it's crazy because you only get one go at every feature because it's such a long, continuous ride that I never got to do it twice, and I never. Well, a couple. Sorry, that's a lie. A couple of features I did hit, and it was like whoa, and I wanted to do it again because it was so cool.
right.
But for the most part, you just yeah, drop in and ride for a long time down intense mountain biking trails. And
Okay.
if we could develop this to, like you say, a race, or even just, it's so much fun to just free ride, to throw a trick in here and there, and just, yeah. So I don't
That
know what it's going to be, but it's everything for me right now. It's like the
yeah.
funnest thing I can do on my blades.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, have you ever like done, an off-season ski resort because you think that would be ideal for, that type of setup. But that's got to be like, because I started skiing just a few years ago and just really got into it. And I'm like, it doesn't even feel like exercising because you're just going to, by the end of the day, your legs are aching, but you don't,
Oh,
at the time, you don't, you just feel, you're just like, I'm cruising. I'm just like flying down this mountain. And it's only like at the end of the day, you're like, my calves are like, burning. So what does it feel like to like skate down these things? Like, because obviously you're not like burning loads of cardio because you're not like you're rolling, you're letting it the trajectory take you down, but you're still like definitely working out your body pretty hard, like maneuvering throughout the terrain.
well, I'm also choosing to go to the top, and up there, there's really only like I'm not even familiar with all the rating scales of like, it gets up to black diamonds and stuff. And it's some of the trails, the best trails for the coolest features are on the craziest terrain. And it's not like chill riding like that for a long time. It's just like technical, even
Yeah.
sidestepping down a little bit of it because it's like unridably rooty or cliffy drops, or like some of the ladders are just too insane. But once you get into some areas where it's like children's maybe green circle. I don't know what these
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And then you can just like flow, and it's pretty much like skating a pump track in a city. And it's like, but also like you say, the downhill just helps, and you just kind of coasting around. But for most of my riding, it's on the more extreme side where I'll only make it like a few city blocks or something, like not bombing that far. And I'm huffing and puffing and legs are shaking. And it's like the adrenaline of just surviving that little stretch is enough that like I don't need to carry on, because I also feel like I'm pushing my luck, and you can
Yeah.
have these disastrous moments if you just get lazy, because yeah, you can't predict every rock and route out there.
That's what I was wondering, because I've seen that you've started adopting the helmet as well, which I was like, thank God, because
Yeah,
there's just so many variables. It's like even with street skating, you can be the most competent street skater, but if you hit a crack or just, and I feel like when you're in the environments that you're in, that's multiplied so many times, because there's stuff that also it's coming up on you. You're flying down this hill essentially, and you're like, oh crap! Like even if you spot it, you may spot it, and you're like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's coming up. It's happening.
exactly. That's yeah, a lot. It's crazy how good you can roll through these sketchy terrains, but out of nowhere, those little things just will throw one foot off, or like you say, you may want to sit down and just like on a grassy park or whatever. Out of nowhere, you'll just hit like a little like a burrow of some animal or something, and just wheel stops, and you just go sliding. So yeah, I've definitely wear the equipment for the terrain now. Like sometimes I will be skating very casual around a lake trail, and there's no need to strap up and wear everything. But if I'm hitting a ski resort, I'm definitely wearing my knee pads, gloves, and a helmet. And I would even recommend more if you're to push this into like throwing in tricks and hitting big booters and
Yeah,
trying to push the speed down a mountain, or even like in the free riding. Yeah, there's sometimes like some places where like it's crazy though. Out of all of this off-road skating, my injuries are compared to my aggressive skating or even urban skating, like the stuff that I was dealing with when cement is involved, like just it, I don't know. I don't have the injuries I used to have. And that might be one of the reasons I've really pushed this off-roading thing, is because I also haven't feeling like I pushed myself enough to get like an aggressive style injury from it. So the potential is huge. Like I think people can be doing backflips on these things and 900 in while cruising zero off the next booter to log roll, heel roll. No, I'm not going to heel roll on air tires, but you get what I'm going. Like you can still do a lot of crazy stuff on them because you can do it. It's just nobody's done it yet.
that's a terrifying prospect. Like someone just launching a massive spin off like a kicker on a mountain. Actually, oh no, that's not true.
Get there.
I've seen what's his name? Damon Franklin had a set of SUV skates. Oh, I want to say it was a couple of years ago, and I saw him do a backflip off like a dirt kicker. But
Yeah.
it wasn't that big. But I mean, he's still doing a backflip on a set of SUV skates on a trail.
Claim it, take it. It's amazing.
So
And
yeah,
it's all got to start somewhere. Somebody's got to do it, and somebody is going to be very good at off-road skating, and it will be like, yeah,
that
because
could be
there's
you.
so
You
much
can
you
be
can
like
do.
you could be like the. Do you know who Danny McCaskill is? Like the massive mountain biker. He's on Red Bull, and he just
Yes.
basically you could be like the Danny McCaskill of the rollerblading world, because I'm sure there wasn't a market for that, and he just created that niche of being this like insanely good mountain biker with really unique vision. Like I don't remember any big names being before him.
I'm happy to grow off-road skating into whatever it can be, and the bigger the better. So like I said in a recent social media post, like been endorsing off-roading skating for over 10 years, but I'm not going to stop until like it's 10 times bigger, till there's thousands of people and trails built by rollerbladers, or like I want to see, yeah, a competition on just 3 dirt jumps, classic BMX free ride competition. Just give us like 3 big booters in a row. And I want to see some Atkinson skating these things. I want to see like, people should be embracing this, because this is the biggest and fastest you will ever skate. Like well, I mean,
Right.
you can get a mega ramp on like normal wheels, but you got to try it on the dirt. It's so much different. It's so,
Okay. Is there? That's what I was going to ask. Is there many like Have you found a community of like other people across the world who are like doing what you're doing, or maybe not on the scale that you're doing it, but like as in using the same equipment for like similar activities? Or
Well, Vancouver was probably the biggest crew that I've gotten to skate with off-roading. And again, they got perfect surroundings for it. They've got the same excuse me, they got the same Canadian creative skating mentality. They've birthed Wizard, all of that. So it's like they've adopted off-road blading, and I've enjoyed skating with them out there when I am out there. I used to live out there, and we had some good meetups, and we'd go explore some interesting places. But yeah, I see like my eyes are open to people off-roading, even if they're doing it on 60 mil wheels and just cutting a corner across the grass in the middle of their line. It's not necessarily a air-filled tire thing. It's that people will embrace this off-road skating without realizing that they're embracing it by just grinding a log instead of the rail beside it. And it's gonna grow. Like I see a huge interest in earthy rollerblading, like getting back to the roots and being creative and pushing what's possible. Like people are jumping through trees again. That used to be a huge thing. Just find a tree with the V and jump through that. It was cool.
That's true, yeah. So no one's reached out to you when they've seen your videos, or obviously because you've had quite a few that have been really popular, and been like, oh, I live in Norway and I'm actually doing this as well. Like,
okay, yeah, that happens. There's a lot of places that are going to be unreachable without support and going on these like crazy adventures. There are, people skating in cool places that I wish I could be at and get the invites to. And surprisingly, there's even excuse me, I got a cat freaking out in here. Jazz. There's like even people in my home province, my home state, or whatever you call it, wherever you're from, but like just all of a sudden hit me up, and I had no idea that there was off-road skaters a couple hours from me, that close, and wanting to go to like the same locations that I've pre-scouted using Google or whatever, and I do a lot of mapping. Well, I love Google mapping and figuring out where I'm going to go and what it's like beforehand. And that's surprisingly, there's people all over. And I went to the ski resort just near here. Like it's in a valley because we don't got mountains in the middle of Canada. And there was a huge scene of little snowblades, like little rippers and like those little ski boots that have no skis on them or whatever. And it's kids like that will adopt mountain blading because they're already doing it, and they're doing something just as niche as this, but let them do it around on the exact same trails. So it'll come.
That's quite funny that they're like, it's this basically like aggressive skating where you like discover a spot and then someone hits you up and goes, hey, can you tell me where that is or how I can get to that? Or I want a shot of that. That looks fun.
So it's different. It'll grow.
Right. Okay. So see the setup with the wheels. I'm assuming it's just got like traditional bearings inside it.
Yep. A lot of times they're throwing in the wicked rust proofs. So if you like kind of foreseeing people going through worse conditions. So normal traditional bearings are doing the job. Like I'll be swapping out, but it's never been like terrible on a bearing. I've never had any just seize up or anything that I would expect with rolling through so much dust. Like there's a lot of places, there's a lot of dust being kicked up, but I don't know if like bearing technology, the shields and stuff have gotten so good. It's just, I think the worst thing for a bearing after all these years of experience would be impacts, like starting to just rattle loose and just being a louder roll. But like, off-roading is really not hard on your bearings at all.
I'm quite surprised by that. Yeah, I was like literally skating a handrail with like grass and dirt next to it for about an hour or two the other week. And then I took the skates to the skate park and I was like, this is horrendous. I need to change all these bearings. This is awful.
Yeah, and it must have something to do also with the bearings being just hitting the dirt, because they're never making that same contact as if you drop off of a rail and run down the grass. Like your bearings there's only that much urethane, and it's like the shield is being
Yeah.
pelted with dirt and stuff that can easily get in. So that must make a big difference that they're so far from the actual.
I guess they're higher off the ground as well, aren't they? So they're getting a little bit more protection.
Yeah.
But then the terrain's a bit more rugged. All right. We never actually have you had any, you mentioned like the injury aspect of it and having less injuries, but have you had any like bad ones doing it or any like scares? Because even your latest promo, you're doing like hockey stops and stuff like that on the edge of mountains, essentially. Like that looks like it could come with its fair share of jeopardy.
I am embracing the T-stop and the cliche things that weren't cool back in the day, like dragging your foot behind, is essential in some of these situations because I'm doing whatever it takes to get through a trail. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not worth trying to look stylish or something when you are developing. I don't know. It's just getting it done. And so, yeah, there's been scary situations because a lot of times I don't know how, I don't have like, I'm just learning how to like power slide full traditional hockey stop, like on dirt in controlled situations to actually speed check or whatever. So I embrace the T-stop until I'll get to that point where I'm doing more stylish traditional skating or whatever. But no, there's not been that many bad, like worst case, like I have rolled a couple of times or like slid on my ass a lot, or I don't know, just, but nothing, no terrible bruises, scrapes, like nothing. Yeah, it's been lucky. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's luck. I just think that, like, yeah, cement hurts so much. And
This is true. This is very true. Yeah.
yeah.
Because if I go out skating on my own now, like say I don't know, travel to like a skate park or just like something like that, I'm very much aware of the fact that I'm on my own. And I'm like, when you go skating with friends, you're like, oh, if something happens, they'll be able to like look after me or like phone the ambulance, whatever. And I'm like, what if I get hurt here and I can't reach my phone? And no one comes. And like these thoughts start playing in my head because I'm older, and then I'm like, you're taking that to the extreme. Like you're
Yeah, see, I also don't even rock a phone these days. I haven't had a phone in forever. So like it is, I don't know. I have a lot of confidence in my skills that even if something terrible was to go wrong, I'll get myself out of the situation. Like I don't
right.
know. Trying
So,
to not soften up with old age. I'm trying to stay exploring and a lot of mental mapping, a lot of research, I tell people where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I don't go skating on my own that often, but if I'm driving out the hour to my family's acreage and I go through this beautiful valley and I want to stop and ride a hill, I'm going to ride that hill. And yeah, if something is to happen, got to deal with it in the situation. It's never happened. Knock on all the wood around or whatever. I don't know. I like being free.
so you don't have like I don't know, like an Apple Watch or anything with a tracker on it, so that people are like, hey, he's stopped moving. Like,
No, but that'll
my
probably
God.
change real quick because it seems to have been exponentially growing the amount of harassment of you need a phone. You need every it's such a social thing these days. So yeah, I'm happy with how long I've gone without. Feels
Yeah.
great. I have a brand new MacBook here and I still use technology, but I prefer to shoot on like all these old cameras and
Yeah.
communicate with like I'm still talking to everybody and I'm around, but I just don't like being bothered all the time. And you get bothered when you have a phone in your pocket.
This is true. Yeah, it's a valid point. Yeah. So I'm assuming, yeah, you're still like very active with your photography and stuff like that as well. Like because that was always a huge part of your life.
Yeah, I shot some album art and a music video and some ladies' fitness routines and trainers, and I like whatever. A lot of yeah, I'm always shooting for my own self, which I'll get another portfolio developed. Well, I have a portfolio, I'm just not developing it because, like I said, I got all this going on. Pro skate took up a lot of my energy for this last year. For like I said, I was skating the samples for it's been like a year now, and
Right.
I couldn't release anything until this last month here. And it was cool that I could keep it all secret. But again, I don't have a huge scene around me, so it's like, partner, shh, don't post that photo. You
Yeah.
can see my in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's
it
not
was,
like an aggressive skate where you show up to, I don't know, the session. You're like, guys, please just don't take, you can see it, just don't take a photo of it. Yeah, yeah, right,
no, nobody cares out in the middle of the woods. Like there's,
right.
well, actually, a lot of people, they care. That's why I put follow Werbeski on the back of my skate, because it's
Okay.
pretty much a business card, and it's the easiest thing to just show my rollerblade with the direct link to everything they need to see about me. Like spelling out a whole name. People are like out exploring and they don't want to, like, I don't know. It's too much information. This is just bam, almost like a QR code or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because I imagine you must run into people that are just like, I don't know, out walking or whatever, or doing whatever activity, and they must just be like, what the hell are you
yeah.
doing? What the hell are you doing? Like, what are those?
All the time. People don't even know that it's possible. Like they've never even considered the idea. And all of a sudden just a rollerblader shows up like miles from cement. They're just like, how'd you get here? Like, what are you doing? uh, yeah, it's cool. And they always are like wanting to see it and just kind of give you the right of way and have a lot of questions and
Yeah,
interest. Maybe it's not even their own interest. They're just like, oh, my son or brother-in-law would love to see this because they're out here biking all the time. And like, it's just, yeah, it's almost like seeing some, like, I don't know, unicorn in the forest.
that's what I mean. Like, if I see a rollerblader out in the wild, even if it's like I randomly saw someone with a wizard setup that, I've lived here decades. I've skated here decades. And I saw a guy go past and I instantly what, when you see a wizard frame, you recognize it straight away. And I was like, rollerblader, rollerblader with wizard frames. I was like, who the hell's that guy?
So cool. Yeah.
But seeing them in like a forest or like, yeah, like on a mountain or something, you'd be like, wait, what? What? Like your mind would just not process that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's fun shocking people. And like I said,
I mean, I imagine you definitely like that factor of it. Yeah. So you said there's more promotional material to come. Do you mean as in like more sections or more like shorter pieces for like social media or what?
the both of those ski resorts are like a 2-3 minute long little video,
Right.
and chopped up a couple of remix reels for Instagram. The videos will probably be on like Powerslide's YouTube and all of this, and they just have schedules that they're. I would love to just release everything, but I don't know. They got plans. I'm under their control in a sense. I have my own social media. I can post whatever I want, but to like time out a collaboration or I don't know. I don't know what they do.
They're getting their money's worth with this product from you because, I mean, some aggressive skaters don't even put out a bloody promo. They just like release the skate company will release a photo or whatever, and their lazy ass doesn't even bring out a section. I feel like you've brought out what sounds like, I mean, you've already brought out a substantial amount of media for it and posting about it and stuff like that in a really interesting way. And there's more to come.
I would say I've released about a third of what I shot with my sample skates last
Right.
year. And yeah, so there's about like 2/3 more to come. And I keep collecting it while I'm sitting on this stuff. So there'll be a bunch to come. Like
That's nuts. Oh, okay, you've definitely not lost the work ethic. I'll give you that. Um,
some
so
people see that.
what was that?
Some people see that.
Um,
I still
oh,
get grief. Like it's like I said, non-traditional, but like there's
you still
yeah.
get grief in what way?
Well, I don't want to get into all the details, but like the production for these 3 edits and 4 edits and 20 photos and 10 reels or whatever. I don't know what it would have tallied up to over that little thing. It was a very small budget, but very
Right.
questioned budget from, yeah, like I said,
Okay.
without
Yeah.
the backing of the second sponsor, the drone to contribute to that tour, maybe I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been so productive. But yeah, I definitely killed that 2 week little trip I went on last year, and going on another 2 week one in 3 weeks here, the end of July. And
Right.
we'll see what kind of content I create. It'll all be dependent on people's decisions, not
I
just mine.
suppose, yeah, it's one of these difficult things because obviously you're having to try and explain it to like the skate company or whatever when no one else apart from you has ever done this for them. So like trying to make them understand it from your perspective, or like how it's different to say filming an aggressive promo or doing this or that. You're like, no, this is very location specific. I have to get to these places. Like you can't just, you know,
Travel budget orientated. It's
yeah.
yeah. It's going on these adventures to places nobody's ever skated. And
There's definitely,
definitely
yeah. There's like a mini documentary to be made out of it. This seems like the kind of thing that would be on like Vice or something, like random mountain man rollerblader, like
well,
camps in the wilderness and skates on SUV skates. Like that's a weird niche story right there.
I'll put this out there. If anybody wants to manage, like I'm developing my own press release right now for exact like that. Like there's magazines in these towns or news feature things in these towns that I'm riding, and there's no way they're not going to promote my rollerblading down their local ski resort. It's like I'm a foreigner pops into town and rides down their ski hill. Like these are stories that will appeal to non-rollerbladers, and like you
Yeah.
said, just need to get it out there to people. And so yeah, got to create my own press release, got to edit my own videos, got to shoot everything, got to skate everything. It takes a lot of energy, but if I can, well, on Tuesday morning I have a radio interview live, which is like, gets the ball rolling. Thank you for this opportunity. Get the ball rolling. And as this new content comes out, maybe big media will pick it up and see
Yeah.
where the rest of the summer goes.
You would think like the media sources for like outdoor pursuits and stuff like that, I don't know, like all the kind of various like, generalist outdoor like activity magazines and stuff like that, they'd be like dead into it. Or like in Scotland, all our ski resorts have their own websites and like press centers for like, I don't know, like, yeah, like the ski resorts or like our National Forest Association and stuff like that. You'd think if you got in touch with him and been like, I'm doing this like really fascinating, unique project in your area,
Yeah.
like you might want to send someone to cover this. Like
Yeah. Well,
you'd think they'd be properly into it.
I do. I definitely do think there's a lot of interest in this, but again, it's all me. Like I'm having to do
Yeah.
all this
Yeah.
work, and like that's the last step is the networking and the managing of the content or whatever, I guess you could say. And yeah, I really enjoy the skating part of it. I'm not the best businessman.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's a lot to take on for one person because you're basically like, you're the location scout, the talent, the filmer, the photographer, the like social media, like press scat, like all for like the same thing. Like it's the kind of thing that if it was in any other industry or any other pursuit, there would be an entire team like working on that. And you're like, nope, it's just I'm doing it all of it.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. So things do get overlooked, like those aspects. Well, not overlooked. I'm still attempting it. I'm aware of it. It's just that I haven't been able to focus on it.
Right.
Yeah. Still got to make a new reel today. Got to do other things, like yeah. And I do want to go skate. Like, after this, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to go most likely set up a hammock and a slack line in the park and have my off-road blade sit in there and ride the hill, do a couple of things, jump on a picnic table. I don't know.
Nice. So when you're not throwing yourself down mountains or going rollerblades, what are you doing for work these days?
It's crazy. I work for a safety council. I
The irony, but yeah,
I
okay.
know. And I'm a content specialist, so I do what I do for somebody else.
Okay.
I film and photograph and edit a bunch of PSAs or educational pieces for the like nonprofit that oversees knowledge, like educating everybody in the state province that I live in about safety. And yeah, my story appealed to them because I was clearly very unsafe, and I've smartened up, gotten wiser with my age, and
Okay.
have skills that translate to this industry. So it's kind of nice. It's like my first real salary gig that I've like ever actually taken on. So
Yeah.
yeah, like going to Chicago and New York and all that next month here will be great. It's paid holidays. I'm an adult. I get to just like
That's what I was gonna say. You've got like a responsible adult's job now. I don't think I could ever picture you like doing that. Yeah.
yeah, this is
I
coming
always
on a
thought you were
year.
gonna be like this
Cool.
like vagabond forever.
Well, it's embedded in me. That's why I still have to keep up this lifestyle of exploring all the time, even if it's just around where I live. And not by just around, like here, there's big distances to cover to see a change in terrain, hours. So we do a lot of driving around here, a lot of exploring, like all my weekends are exploration. And yeah, but it's
All
nice
right.
having a 9 to 5. Like I get to be creative all day and hang out with cool people. And yeah, I work with a skater. Like yeah,
As
it's
in
cool.
like one we would know or just a guy that skates.
Just a local
Right.
skateboarder who saw the blade in and picked it up and is loving it. It's cool.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So a lot, I kind of, because everyone's memory is quite short in the internet era, and I wonder how many people would actually be aware of this, especially the fact that a lot of people have come back to blading in the past few years and might have missed this period. But you and Richie were obviously responsible for the Powerhouse in Barcelona. Like you pitched the idea to Powerslide, they sent you over there, and you guys made all this stuff like you and Richie like handling, you were obviously taking photos, you and Richie were filming and making all these sections for all these skaters like Warpage, Alan Beaulieu, Dom Sagona, like all these like visiting USD riders, shadow riders, stuff like that. Like I don't think we've talked about it last time, but I did always wonder like who were your favorite people, like the people that you most enjoyed hanging about with during that period, or the people whose skating you were most impressed by, or because you were obviously very hungry at that time as well and determined to make a name for yourself and obviously did. But I was curious to know, like, during all those, because it was like a revolving door. There was just people visiting all the time. So what was that like from your perspective?
Well, peak I think was when the Shadow team came through to finish or shoot the video. That was
Yeah.
amazing to see, like childhood idols just being real people, hanging out with them for a month, or I don't even know how, it must have been a month. But Sagona hanging out in the house, he was like, he lived there. He was like, I don't know, may have stayed the longest. It was great. And he
Yeah.
was passing down knowledge and getting to see, yeah, how real everybody is like was the best part, because you build everybody up in your head as like celebs, and then they're just real people who can kill it when the cameras come out and like have a good time when the cameras aren't on them. That's why I really enjoyed filming everything with that home movies camera, making the Powerhouse movie,
Yeah.
because I was pointing the camera at everybody when they weren't expected a camera to be pointed at them, because normally it's when you're tricking. But I thought everybody was cool people and worth documenting the time socializing with them.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, some people were hungry. Like, oh my God, people were coming in getting broke off. And
That's what I
yeah,
mean. Like
it was
who came and just like really shocked you or like blew you away and you're like, whoa, I did not appreciate the level of your talent before. Okay.
okay. Yeah, Warpage was insane. He was determined. It was an opportunity for him as much as it was an opportunity for us. He got a pretty lengthy visa as well. He put some time in the Powerhouse and didn't waste it. He was killing it. Um, there's one that's slipping in my mind right now. The name. Maybe you could help me out here. the guy who Fakey 540 sold the Cali down beach ledge.
Mark
He's like a
Wider.
yeah, oh my God. That guy was on a whole nother level. He was the most intense. Wake up doing like you just hear a dude just full on workout in the living room, going hard, breaking a sweat before anybody's even up,
Yeah,
going out and like 540 off the biggest things possible, getting broke off, swollen up everywhere, bruised up, stretching it out, partying all night, waking up, like same routine over and over. And it was like the his physical dedication to it was unreal. Like he took it like it was a professional sport. It was cool
yeah,
to see.
yeah. Mark Wider has
And,
no chill. I actually interviewed him not that long ago, and I was like, the stuff, like how you didn't get further in blading, because the stuff you were doing was psycho. And he was churning out the sections. Yeah, Warpage as well, placed at Winter Clash, had all these sections out. Like if a brand could afford to send him to more competitions, he would have killed those as well. He was in the Cayenne project videos, and it's just still not. I can't believe Warpage has not had his name on a skate. I do find that quite criminal.
right, right.
Like,
True that.
what more does he have to do? Like I get geography plays a huge part in it. He lives very far away and it's very expensive for brands to kind of do anything with him, but his talent is undeniable.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's too bad that whole location thing. I struggle with it, and I know a lot of people struggle with it. You move away from the scene, and
Yeah.
you're not in the scene.
This is true because I remember
It's
you
not
said
that.
that was one of the reasons for like things breaking down undercover. Because was that right? Not right? Because sending stuff to you was just more expensive for them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a part of it. It's just that, yeah, you when you're with four other skaters, let's say Barcelona, like a lot of teams are based in Barcelona, and send one big package, everybody gets all their goods or whatever, and it's a lot easier. So sending a bunch of stuff just to me doesn't really make as much sense, and I understand it, but come on, I'm still killing it over here.
Yeah. You're like, I understand, but it still hurts. I get it. So we also covered this last time. Like you being a bit of a controversial character. You obviously had your falling out with Sean Kelso, where he blamed you for
All the love.
breaking a spot in Kansas City that you actually made, and it was in the Haitian video, I think, wasn't it, or something like that? You skating it? Can't
Yeah, a
remember.
few. Yeah,
Yeah,
all the Haitian boys got some clips on it. It was cool. It
yeah.
was like some things are meant to last, and like yeah, we're
I
destroying
remember.
everything we're skating, and like just let it be destroyed. Like it is what it is. I don't know. All the
Yeah,
love.
well, I remember that, and then there was obviously the Frederick Anderson beef because he accused you of stealing his girlfriend. When again you told your side of the story and said that you don't feel that's how it played out. But there's one I've always wondered about. Sam Crofts told me when he lived in Barcelona, you guys were really tight. You obviously had the THC crew with like Nick and Carson and stuff like that. And I was like, but you never really spent much time with Mark Moreno. And Sam went, oh, that wasn't on my part.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I was really good friends with Dustin. He's like, and Mark couldn't stand Dustin, or they had some like beef with each other. He's like, so I couldn't hang out with Mark. But he never elaborated on what had happened. So what happened between you and Mark Moreno?
Yeah, I'll happily fill you in on.
Go on then.
I'm an open chest. Yeah, that was interesting. Mark Moreno's a cool dude. His partner's cool. They definitely have a good setup. The Powerhouse didn't really socialize with locals that much. Like I skated a bunch with Tony Cheetah, very cool cat. He would definitely come around the Powerhouse and like, but it was I don't know. There's just a little bit of a different scene. But at the end of the Powerhouse, I stuck around, got a new place studio with an old partner, and then when that all fell apart, I came back on just like a random little trip, like met Mark Moreno's partner's best friend, and yeah, that was the Spanish chick that I was with for years. But
Right.
for
Okay.
some reason that left a sour taste in their mouth. I don't know. I don't know like how these social things happen. Like that's also why I like being out in the woods, because there is no society, social, weird things.
Right.
So like I got a key to, okay, so my ex's house was where Mark Moreno's wife, or if they're whatever, they live together. And Mark wasn't too happy that I got a key to the girl's house before he did. He had been
Oh,
with them
okay.
for a long time. So then
Okay.
all of a sudden I was living in the city with the chicks. And then she had to move out, and she moved in with Mark. And so I kind of just like took over that house somehow, I guess, in their
Right.
perspective. I don't know what the deal is. So, but when I started seeing her, I was cut off from that local scene because I don't know, man. Like I literally don't know.
It's so crazy
It's
the
just
way
some
things like that
childish
work.
shit
Yeah.
that like I don't know. I don't feels like high school stuff, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't care to dig
Yeah.
into the details of some high school drama.
The way the conflict kind of arises from something that you're like, this is a thing. Why is this an issue? Yeah, I do know what you mean. But you know what? It was, you were too damn charming for your own good. You were charming. You got the key first because you're just that
Well,
lovable rogue. That's the problem, Dustin. You're a lovable rogue.
I got married in all of that situation, and it was some serious, yeah, again, growing up trying to like really settle in Spain and enjoy a life there. And it wasn't based around blading, it was like a personal life. And I guess maybe that also separated me from the blading, but not really. I had all my homies. THC was the fucking bomb. That's all I needed.
Yeah. Sam also told me another story about he went on a blind date, or he went on a date to like a flamenco club, and he was like, this is what is happening. What am I doing here? And did he say it was you or Carson showed up to like save him on the date? I can't remember what the story was. Or like you all met up later that night. And I was
I
like,
have
this.
faint memories of, yeah, Sam being with this dancer woman. And I also have memories of him getting in trouble for always leaving bloodstains on her sheets, because every time he would stay at her house, he would be fresh from our sessions and be bleeding all over her fresh laundry. So I don't know if those stories connect, but that's what I
Yeah.
remember.
I mean yeah. If I know Sam, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, he said he used to come and like meet you guys and go session on his lunch break from work, and then like
He
get
like
absolutely destroyed because he'd go and skate a hammer on his lunch break from the school and then go back either just drenched in sweat or blood or both. And I was like, they must have thought you were a psychopath. Like,
so good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was definitely down for the game. He was taking it
yeah.
serious. It
I
is
saw
just a game.
Yeah,
Just
I did see Sam was hyped when you got your skate, and he was like posting about it on social media, being like, "Yeah, just excited for you." Do you like keep in touch with those guys much?
yeah. Yeah. Sam's got some say at Powerslide these days, so he's involved in a bunch of email conversations, and mm, I keep in touch. But after a while, those dreams of getting back there fade when there's no support to do it. I ask
Yeah,
every year. It's been a while, hasn't it?
it has been a while. Yeah, yeah. You would just think with like all this stuff. I feel like I feel like your ideas are so progressive that it kind of works against you. Like
I know.
when you had like the whole like power blading thing, and you were combining like aggressive with free skate. A few years later, like like you know 7 or 8 years down the line, coronavirus hits and everyone's getting into that stuff. And if your skate had came out then, people were like, wait a minute, I can have an aggro skate, but it's also got a free skate set up on it. Like all the back to bladers would probably have loved that. Would have been the ideal product for that. I feel like it just came too soon.
Well, let's hope that it's not the same situation with an off-road pro skate. Uh, Feels pretty similar. It's very obscure, and I will hold on to it until other people are doing it, and I'll be happily involved when that time comes. But Yeah,
But I
it
think
is hard.
that's, yeah, I think that's a good thing though. Like, because surely I would imagine it's better to be like, it not be popular, but you've been remembered as someone that blazed a trail or like, you know, pushed for something first, as opposed to being like, oh, well, that guy was like really famous and popular within the community or the industry or whatever. But then when you actually think back on what did they actually bring to it? What did they change? What did they make better? And you're like, oh, they were just a great skater.
Yeah. Well, I hope I helped turn people on to the idea of big wheel blading, and it's ironic as I lost the wheel sponsor and things like that. But yeah, there's been people definitely benefiting from the growth of wheels in the sport of rollerblading. It's great to see. I embrace it. Like I definitely there's a lot of companies making big wheel products and it is cool. That's a
That's
lot of
what I
money
mean.
being put
Like,
back into the industry.
yeah, the lines have been absolutely blurred. Like you've got ground control, which is it's an aggressive brand. It had never had anything to do with recreational free skate. Now they have recreational frames and they're making a ton of recreational wheels. Like that was unthinkable 10 years ago.
Yeah, and it's cool. I
So
love it. I think that's what blading needs is, yeah, I don't care if I'm the best big wheel skater around. I don't care if I'm the best off-road skater around. I hope I'm not. I hope somebody's competitive out there and wants to push it further than me. Like bring it on, inspire me. I'm giving you the idea. Now you do it real good and I will chase down you for a minute until I find something new to push it into. It's just
yeah,
inspiration. It's how it works.
that's quite funny. That's what the mushroom blading guys were saying not too long ago. They were like, we knew we weren't that good at rollerblading, but we had these ideas and we were just waiting for other people to like adopt them that were really good at rollerblade or like much better than us. And they're like, now we're seeing that. That's the biggest satisfaction from it. And I feel like you've also had a kind of similar journey in that sense of like introducing new ideas to the sport and enriching it essentially.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a fellow Canadian with the Mushroom Bladers. They're humble guys as well.
Even though you guys have like your little like back and forth teasing with each other. I remember when you brought out the promo for the three wheel skates and it was like death to the fourth wheel and they were making fun of you for it and I remember you bit back.
They like to make fun of a lot of stuff. That's for sure. Every day, and
I thought
I
that was
don't
the
care to
Canadian
be.
way. I thought humor was the huge part of the Canadian unified
You just say
personality.
sorry after.
Uh,
That's good.
do you guys ever like cross because they kind of keep to themselves as well? Do you guys ever cross paths? Obviously, like Canada's huge, but
Well, they live on the number one highway that goes across Canada. So if I'm driving to the coast, I'm going through their city, and it's been a few years, but I'm been trying to get to them to connect and come try this whole off-road skating thing because I think they would love it. Their city is perfect for it, and
right,
it's like some of the craziest bike park I've ever seen. So if they want to be Superman and like go flying, they could do it there too. But
God,
no,
yeah,
I would love to connect with them again. So, but this year is like the first year I've always driven west. It's just been my way. The mountains are over there and Vancouver's over there. And like year after year builds a crew that's over there. But this year I'm gonna drive east. I've never been to New York City. So that will be a pleasure. So I won't see my fellow Canadians this year. I'm gonna go be a part of the Windy City Riot in Chicago, and
okay,
then yeah, we're just gonna do a driving trip because that's how I do it. All these I've always preferred driving. Like you get to see everything in between. Like it's, I mean, maybe it's just that I was never given those opportunities to be flown direct to a city for an opportunity and then flown out. Because I always just had to like work for it. So but yeah, I develop my own tours every year, like my own little trips that are just personal, and I throw blading into them. And gonna go through Minneapolis, Chicago, and then just straight shot to New York, and then up into Toronto, back through Detroit and Chicago and Minneapolis again, and home. Nice big loop de loop.
I'm kind of surprised you've never been to New York. I feel like New York's the kind of place that a younger Dustin would definitely have like lived in and thrived it. Like,
Right. Yeah, I know.
you know how to hold your own. You love the chaos. Like big person. I feel like New York would have been a place that very much suited you as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I am very excited to get back into some street photography. My hometown here is like so small that it's pretty rare to see somebody of interest. And yeah, there it's just the sea of people that take a lot of rolls of film with me. And my off-roads, I'm gonna go skate Central Park is the goal. I don't even
Okay.
know if you're allowed to, but that's the goal. And yeah, take some another pair of mine as an urban pair. Obviously, do some urban skating around downtown of Manhattan and whatnot. And I'm trying to decide if I take my Solomons or my old Shadows or Eons. I don't know what I'm going to take to skate around for Windy City Riot. I'm not going to take that comp very serious, that's for sure. But it's going to be cool to be a part of one again.
Okay. If you go to New York, you have to. Do
Mhm.
you know who
I don't know.
JP Premiano is? The guy that does Butter TV.
Yeah.
He like loves like basically making any form of creative project. I feel like you two would definitely, yeah, be able to come up with something.
Okay, I caught the last part there, but who is this? The
Oh,
most
did that
important.
die? Do you know what? Have you ever seen like Butter TV? He makes like loads of
Oh,
competition edits. He
yes.
makes like action figures and stuff like that. JP Premiano, lovely guy, and is like he's just obsessed with making stuff. Like just any kind of project. Like I imagine if you hit him up, like you guys, kindred spirits. I definitely think like if you like pitched an idea to him, and went, oh, like I'm going to be in the city. I would love to do that. Like I think if he was free, he'd be 100% down.
That's what I mean. I'm just scheduled. I literally this morning got it set in stone on what the schedule is, and I book holidays off tomorrow, Monday morning. But like now I announce to the world and see who's around and yeah, who wants to work on stuff. And but again, it's all me. Create a schedule, create the master plan, do the connected. It's cool.
Okay.
We'll see who reaches out. So yeah, if anybody wants to work, holler at me. I'm definitely down.
All right. Sounds like you've got loads of stuff in the works then. So you've got these like couple of more projects coming out for the skate. You've got more stuff you're working on. You're going to be traveling, hitting up a competition. Doing like it sounds like you've got a busy year ahead.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, just trying to squeeze it in. Summer's real short over here.
This
Gonna
is
be
true.
winter again soon. And
I can definitely
then
relate
I'm
to
a
that.
hibernate and make some paintings in my garage and yeah, it'll be nice. So
All right. I've got one more question, and I'll let you go because obviously it's a Sunday afternoon, and I don't want to absolutely butcher the end part of your weekend. I've always wondered what. So going back to your aggressive days, I've always wondered like what your favorite section was, or what one you're most proud of, like just because of how it manifests itself and turned out, or like particular tricks that you were just like, yep, that's that crossed off the bucket list. I never need to think about that again. Like, was there any part that just you're like, yep, that's if I was going to show anyone one section of me, I'd show them that one
mm-hmm. When you first said it,
because
I
you've
had
made a
an
lot.
idea. When you first said it, I had an idea, but to change my answer, I would have to say the one section that I'm most proud of would probably be the John Lee, the booted, when he came to Barcelona
I know
and
the
they
one.
filmed
Yeah.
the boot. Yeah, that was a great opportunity to like I said, I'm all independent, and it's awesome to be presented with a filmmaker who knows what the fuck they're doing, and doesn't dicker. Like I could just do me and skate and have it documented so well, and I didn't have to put any thought into it, no editing, nothing, and I just got to sit back and watch a professional take on my skating for a few days in front of the camera. It was a lot of fun to make, and I think it comes through because the skater shouldn't be the director, shouldn't be the editor, shouldn't
Yeah.
all of this because you end up misskewing yourself. And I like it when somebody else could represent me because then I don't know. I look at different things and some things that were in that video I wouldn't have put in the video, but I love it for that reason. Like if I could have all my old edits re-edited by somebody else, I'm sure they'd be more appreciable these days. I would definitely. I just oversee all my stuff too much.
Plus, it's a lot of mental load to be like standing at the top of a stair, trying to concentrate on a trick. And then the whole time you're like directing somewhere, camera being like, make sure you don't zoom out too much. Make sure you do this. Like, don't like do this to me. Or then you do the trick and you're happy with it. And then you look at the clip and you're like, right, let's go again. Like that's you fucked me. Like we're gonna okay. Like
I'm embracing. We never used to care at all about how the spot looked, or even if your head got cut off or any of that stuff. It was just point and shoot with your mom and dad's home movies camera, and it made for a really nice aesthetic. I like it. I think it's getting very cinematic. It's obviously gotten very cinematic. It has its ups and downs in filmmaking and skate videos and all this. And I do like the classic return of old skate video cameras, and like the results of my videos. If I could have somebody with just a zoom doing whatever they do, running a tape for 10 minutes instead of just like an iPhone being fixed in one spot, the results are going to be much better. So like, yeah. And I don't mind having random people film my stuff at all, because I said, like, I embrace that. Like it is what it is. Like if you're not Hollywood, you're not Hollywood, and at least you're out there shooting it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair enough. I would have thought you would have said the wheel. One of my favorites was the wheel promo for I can't remember which, might have been your last one, the one with like all the moon imagery from, I can't remember who that filmmaker is, but that had like you're doing like the machios and the posts and all like the heroes at grinds and stuff like that. And I was like, this is nuts. But yeah, the John Lee one does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was peaking on some creativity there with the mentioned Undercover one. But yeah, it's not as much fun to make. And so that all takes into my memory of the edit. It's just that one, I broke my hand grinding those posts.
I mean,
and so
you were treating a metal post fence as if it was a handrail. So there was a lot of risk. Also, didn't you break your hand then land it?
No, happened? I did it, and then I didn't like that I gapped it to forward. I was like, I should land backwards because of those stupid rollerblading rules. And I thought I could do it better or whatever. And lesson that I definitely appreciated was just accept it. If it works, like if you roll away, accept it. I watched through social media, somebody on a comment asked somebody if they had watched Killer Boots this morning. And so for breakfast, I watched Brandon Campbell's Killer Boots section. And again, re-justified myself on, if you roll away with crazy style, that is your style, and embrace that.
Like, take the win. Yeah.
Because doing it again you can make it perfect, but is that what matters to you? And to me, it doesn't. I think just be happy with that one and don't get broke off. Put the energy into something new.
There is an argument for that. Like, do you clean it up and make it look like the best version of the trick that it can be, or do you take what is potentially the most honest, like reality of it, like you landing it, and maybe I don't know, you fold or you don't like land cleanly, or you lift a leg up or something, but you're like, well, that's it. Yeah. But then you obviously get perfectionists that. So yeah, there's a scale.
Smaller technical things you're pushing, I believe you should perfect that. Like you should, but as you start getting to those first try or die, like accept it. Don't perfect a stunt. That's like, and to me, more and more skating is stunt skating. Like, I don't know, small technical stuff is cool, but I don't know, making a video, do some cool, like big moves, just do it once, get it done, move on to the next one.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Like, I don't know, I'm over the whole spin to win and pushing that like crazy technicality. I would like to, like just grinding weird stuff is always my thing, obviously, but like if you can find bigger and better ones, then that's it. Just creative big things.
All right. So, okay. No, that makes sense. Right. Yeah. I've taken up enough of your time today. I'll let you get back to enjoying the rest of your weekend. Thanks very much for taking time to do this. And I can't wait to see, the other videos you're talking about, because those, they just, I can't even picture what that would look like. So I'm interested to see what the end result is.
Saving the best for last.
All right. Okay. Okay. So you think these are better than the ones that are already out?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
That's a bold claim, but yeah, you've got a proven track record. So
Oh wait, I'm not saying I'm making better videos than everything I've made. I'm making better off-roading videos than I've made.
yeah, I know what you meant.
All right, yeah, because I'm proud of that aggressive stuff, and it's a good reminder. I'm gonna make everybody an aggressive edit this year. Let's see if I can do it again.
Okay,
It'll be fun.
I have no doubt you can still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe, yeah. Oh shit. Maybe I'll make a. Yeah, this whole summer tour thing would be fun to. I don't know. Again, I don't even know what kind of skates I'm gonna ride. I don't know what I'm doing aggressively these days. So just enjoying it.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
I'll let you get
Cheers.
off.
Thank you. Pleasure. Enjoy
Speak to you again in almost another decade. In fact, knowing you, you'll probably have some utterly crazy different trajectory by then as well. So yeah, no doubt we will have more stuff to talk about.
I hope so. Yeah. I'm
Right.
done. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.